Welcome to this week in the world of wrestling.
Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John, that's my cohort and commentary Ashton, and this is our Lucha Underground review. Yes, the first half of the Wednesday Night Wars, and holy shit, what a great episode this was tonight. I mean, man, 3 solid matches, some very interesting storyline progression on all fronts, and the teaser for next week, well, actually 2 teasers, really, when you think about it. Lucha Underground consistently leaves me salivating for more with each and every passing episode. I can barely even speak right now. Ashton, what'd you think of it?
They have this amazing ability to consistently put on great matches and great standalone shows while simultaneously building up to the future.
It's insanity, dude. It's insanity.
It's an art that I feel like the WWE really needs to learn how to harness, because they do a really good job of occasionally giving us good standalone shows, but a lot of the time their standalone shows don't have anything that sets up for the following week. It usually sets up for SmackDown, admittedly, but it's all focused on the pay-per-view, whereas with Lucha Underground, everything is focused on this week and next week. And that's like 95% of the focus, with maybe like 5% being directed towards sort of like what's going to happen past next week. But still, it's just amazing.
But what I love about Lucha Underground, because you make a very interesting point when you talk about WWE, right? And I think one of the biggest complaints that we as a community have with WWE, at least that I've noticed, everybody always talks about, their pay-per-views, the build is kind of lukewarm or meh or lackluster or whatever. But with Lucha Underground, they're doing this juggling act with a multitude of stories, each on a different, tier as far as card level goes. And they're all equally compelling in their own way. And they haven't dropped anything as of yet. It's amazing they've been able to sustain just everything for this long and kept us captivated for this long. And tonight's just yet another testament to that, because I'm like, holy crap. I mean, take for instance the conclusion of the best of 5 series, which I won't, divulge that now. We're going to have our own discussion with that. But, it just builds into something else. You know what I mean? Like, it's not this isolated thing. Now it's branching off into this other crazy stuff. Just holy crap. So
I think that at the end of the day, the most succinct way to put it is that everything serves a purpose.
Yeah, absolutely. No wasted motion from this promotion whatsoever. With that said, guys, let's get right into our first segment. Heat of the night. I have 0 heats of the night tonight. This is a quality hour of television. Ashton, what about you?
No, you know what? I don't have any heats of the night. I do have a nitpick though, but it's really more about the sort of the psychology of one of the matches than it is about anything actually related to the booking or writing or anything like that.
Okay.
I'm not really a big fan in the first match that we got, King Cuerno, Texano, and Cage versus Puma, Mundo, and Hernandez. Everybody does dives to the outside, and I've already kind of accepted in my head that that's just an element of lucha, and that's just something that is sort of different about that culture. Everyone does their dives to the outside, but then everybody instantly recovers and goes crazy doing move after move after move in the ring afterwards.
Yeah, the pace of the opening contest, which it was an amazing opening bout, to be sure. But, it's like I could barely even keep up. And then, when you really stop and think about it, when you come down from that high, you do kind of think, yeah, they did recover a bit too instantaneously from some of that offense. So, if they could work on that a bit, that's always welcome. But I can certainly see where you're coming from.
That's really the only nitpick I have, and it was specifically the spot where they were all diving, because like you have frickin' Hernandez does a dive, and he's this gigantic human being, and then Mundo and Puma do dives, and these are the 2 guys that were on the outside at that point had already eaten 2 dives, one from Hernandez and 1 each from Mundo and Puma, and then within seconds, all 6 of these guys are in the ring fighting each other.
Right.
It's like nothing ever happened. It's like, why did we even bother with that spot other than just to pop the crowd temporarily?
Right. It was just on one speed, and it never even really slowed down, even to the effect of, selling offensive maneuvers.
Well, and see, that's my thing. Like, I don't really have a problem with the pacing of the match, but that specific spot, like where everyone's getting hit with these suicide dives, and suicide dives have kind of been built up at this point as something that does damage. And then it's like somebody just fed all 6 of these guys a Senzu bean, and they just all magically recovered and started going at each other in the ring again.
Right.
I can't really think of any other moments in this match where the pace was so fast that I got disconnected. But this one, I will say that I did feel a little bit of a disconnect.
Fair enough, man. I can't argue with you there. Anything else you want to air out before we move on to our formal review?
Absolutely not. The show was amazing.
All right, then let us roll right on through to our Lucha Underground review. And we have a very interesting opening. It's outside the temple on the roof of the temple. We see Aero Star gazing up at the sky, and then we see Dario Cueto joining him, asking him, what are you doing? Are you gazing up at the heavens? Is that where you draw your inspiration? Drago draws his inspiration down there from the depths of hell. I know both of you really want my unique opportunity, and, just how badly are you willing to go to achieve it, to attain it, because, Drago's going to pull out all the stops to do the same. So you can see Cueto pretty much in this segment just kind of stirring the pot, trying to raise the antagonism here between Aerostar and Drago so that he gets the most violent matchup possible. So,
yeah, I love it. I mean, it definitely seemed like he was kind of trying to get these guys to genuinely dislike each other and kind of pointing out the differences that they have between each other. And I really like that he kind of went that extra, stooped a little bit further down than normal to try and get these guys to kill each other tonight.
Right. I completely agree. I mean, again, Dario Cueto continues to be one of the most compelling, heel figures on the Lucha Underground brand, and just every underhanded thing he does. It really, because the way Lucha Underground is structured, and we've talked about this before, I pay extra attention to his actions because I wonder, what repercussions they're going to have for everyone, including Cueto himself. So he's causing agitation now. We'll see how it pays off later.
Yep, so. Absolutely. Up next, we had our first match of the night. As I was saying earlier, King Cuerno, Texano, and Cage versus Prince Puma, Johnny Mundo, and Hernandez. And I'm going to go ahead and say it, dude. Hernandez looks better than ever.
Oh, dude, I loved how they booked Hernandez in this match. He was an absolute monster. The way he was booked, let me put it to you this way. The way he was booked is exactly why I think you, me, everybody and their mothers who's a Lucha Underground fan could have bought Hernandez as Matanza. Yep. And he was the dominant ruler for so long because he just imposed his will on everybody. And here's the thing, and I didn't really know how to feel about this at first, but you know what? At the end of the day, I did give it my vote of confidence, because at the beginning of the match, he's eating all this offense and treating it like child's play, but the guy dishing out the offense is King Cuerno, who we know is legit as well, and this great heel, and this really cerebral heel, but Hernandez is just eating all of his offense, and he's like, is that all you got? I got an engagement at 5, you can kind of hurry this up, I'd really appreciate it, and then, he just kind of imposes his will and he dominates. I love that he's with Conan, because I don't know what that association is going to, bear out in the future, especially as it relates to Prince Puma, because we already know Vampiro's feelings about the whole thing. But yeah, Hernandez had a great showing, and then when he did the dive off the rope, kind of channeling his inner Supermax with those aerial maneuvers, holy crap, like you said, better than ever.
Yeah. I mean, between some of the stuff that he was doing, between like the no-selling of the early Cuerno offense, I loved that. I love that it was almost like this was his first day in a new prison, and some guy's trying to pick a fight with him, and he punches him in the face, and it hurt. He felt it, but he knows that if he lets anyone see weakness, they're gonna target him, and that's what I like about it, because Lucha Underground is a freaking, like, you can say that it's a temple, but there is a very prison jail-like atmosphere to it. It feels like all these guys are kind of locked in this place together, and none of them like each other, and it just so happens that when they have problems with each other, rather than beating each other up in the hallway, there are people that can sanction their fights.
Right.
That's what kind of the feel of Lucha Underground is. And then you have Hernandez show up, and like it might have hurt. It might not have, but it might have hurt, but he's not going to let anyone know that it hurt, because this is his first fight on Lucha Underground in the ring. And this is his first opportunity to prove himself, and he doesn't want anyone to see any kind of weakness in him at all.
I just love the self-awareness, too, from Hernandez about his dominance. Because there was a point in this match he caught King Cuerno in a fall-away slam position. And
he was swinging him like a baby, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that self-awareness about I can do what I want to you, when I want to you, like that. I really like, because here's the thing, again, I go back to his association with Konnan. We don't know, because Vampiro's been saying since day one, man, Prince Puma, he doesn't need Konnan, Konnan's a leech. I mean, nothing but negative about Konnan. I could fully anticipate, and I've been wrong about this before, because I thought it was going to come earlier with the feud with Cage, but I still would not be surprised if Konnan would turn on Prince Puma and kind of shag up with Hernandez as like a solo act, and that kind of arrogance from Hernandez, he would become one of the top heels right away. Just absolutely amazing. And as far as the match itself goes, I mean, how the hell do you even review this thing? Like, everybody was killing each other. It was absolutely insane.
Well, I'll tell you what, rather than trying to go spot by spot and pick out and kind of try and go throughout the entire match, let's just both kind of point out what our one or two or maybe even three, if we have it, favorite spots were in this match.
Oh, well, I can tell you one that's just right in my head straight away. When they did that whole sequence of hitting people in the corner, like I think it was Puma that did it first, then Cage tried to get in on Puma, though, in the corner. Puma ducks, and then Cage is eating quarter offense from the babyface team of Mundo, Puma, and Hernandez. It was crazy. That was a really clever sequence. God, just so much. What about you? What was one of your favorite moments? Well, I'm thinking of another one to talk about here.
I love any time Johnny Mundo and Hernandez were double-teaming somebody. And I think that my favorite sort of single spot from that was the point where they isolated, I think it was Cuerno in the one corner. Like, I think it was, I don't remember who it was, but one of them did, like the Finn Balor style torpedo drop kick where he just fires the guy back into the ropes. And then as he was recovering, Mundo comes from the opposite corner and Hernandez throws him up over his head and he hits two guys with a double drop kick. Like, it was such a great moment to me.
It was beautiful. God, I love it.
And then Mundo's 10 count kicks into the Tree of Woe.
Yeah, and then he does kind of the
Trouble in Paradise kick.
Yeah, Trouble in Paradise kick with a nice little twist there, corkscrew variation. And yeah, Johnny Mundo's freaking amazing. I've already expressed it's so great to watch him on an actual brand again. It's amazing. I mean, my God, Prince Puma, anytime he was on offense, just insanity. The heels, watching Cage impose his will and just be a monster. And oh, that's right. Actually, no, wait, I think I'm thinking of the wrong match. I'm like, oh, we saw so much amazing stuff tonight. I'm mixing up matches.
You were trying to come up with something that the Mack did, weren't you?
No, it was Cage, but it was just not in this match.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, Cage's power offense, I will say, is insane. Texano is a great heel. Let me say that too, because he was so clutch in the finish, and the finish I think was absolutely perfect. Considering what Texano is all about. So I really like that. As well.
And really, King Cuerno continues to be my favorite character actor on Lucha Underground. It's so
absolutely. Oh my God, yes, he's absolutely incredible. Oh, that reminds me, that is another spot I liked. I mean, it was kind of a disappointment, but I feel like we got something good for it anyway. Cuerno was gonna do his suicide dive to Hernandez, but then Puma and Mundo pull his legs out and nail a double super kick a la Young Bucks.
Yep.
And Cuerno's guy sitting on the steps like, okay, I'm done. I'm just gonna take a break there.
And there was another point earlier on in the match where Puma and Mundo hit a double enziguri on someone.
Yes, I mean, really, I think I had said when this tournament was first announced that I would love to see Puma and Mundo sharing a team, but I just didn't think that was going to happen because Puma was already the Lucha Underground heavyweight champion.
Yeah.
So to see these guys team up in this capacity was amazing for me. I loved it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, though, they came up short because I mentioned earlier, Texano had the assist. He uses the bull rope to clock Mundo, and he clocked Mundo hard on the outside.
No, it was, to get rid of him. But then he hit Puma while, I think it was Cuerno had Puma with his head sticking out through the ropes. Like, he literally was just like, hey man, why don't you take care of this guy? And Texano cracked him in the head, and that allowed Cuerno to hit the thrill of the hunt.
And he pins the Lucha Underground champion. Yes, King Cuerno pinned Prince Puma in this match.
Sure did.
It's crazy because, I mean, we had events tonight that we'll talk about that kind of established another contender. It's just like everybody's gunning for Prince Puma. And now that Cuerno's gotten this pin, he's got to reassert himself. And I don't say this out of bias, but we do have to remember that Mundo beat Cuerno in a steel cage. I thought he was going to be due for an opportunity. So everybody's breathing down Puma's neck for that Lucha Underground title. It's crazy. But yeah, heels win, and they advance to the finals, and they have got to be one of the favorites to win this thing.
Yeah.
It's just, oh my God. But as they're celebrating, Dario Cueto comes out. He's got to be so happy with himself because he hates, Mundo and Puma and all that stuff. And he's just like, oh, I knew you guys could do it. I knew you'd be a powerhouse team. But, I want to give everybody a little taste of the finals next week. So we are going to have a three-way matchup. From a representative of each team. So now, Texano, King Cuerno, and Cage have to decide who's going to represent them. And ultimately find out that Cage is going to represent that team. Willie Mack is going to represent Big Rick and the Family. And Son of Havoc is going to represent Team Strange Bedfellows, as we've called them, with him on Helico and Evilise.
Yep.
And again, what a great matchup. Two notes specifically that I want to make, and I'm going to hand the ball over to you. A, Willie Mack is a freak. All right.
He is. He really is.
Big fan of Willie Mack. And B, just one spot that I want to mention in particular because I was shocked by it, and this is kind of the spot that I confused with our opening contest. There is a point in this thing where Son of Havoc is going for a suicide dive, and Cage catches him in the vertical suplex. What is this man?
He's not a man! He's a machine!
But, I mean, look, I'm a huge Cesaro mark and everything. I'm sorry, Cesaro, Brock Lesnar, and now Cage are on a very short list of absolutely freakish athletes. What the heck even was that?
Well, freakishly powerful, because you're not going to see any of those three guys doing, high-flying stuff.
Well, I mean, I kind of
different kinds of athleticism.
Well, yeah, but let's get some of your thoughts on this matchup, though. What did you think of it?
Well, dude, for me, Willie Mack, or I'm gonna call him by his proper Lucha Underground name, the Mack. The Mack was the highlight of this match to me, and really, it wasn't even close. I love Cage, and Son of Havoc really just kind of played. He really did just kind of play sort of the fodder in this match. He was just kind of the guy that the other two guys got to one up each other on how cool moves they can do. So, but yeah, I mean, the Mack just freaked me out. He's so good. I mean, the guy did a Basaiku knee kick. I'm trying to remember everything he did. He had a ridiculous senton. He was doing some ridiculously athletic stuff for a dude that's his size. And he's not necessarily ripped, but he is a large human being, and he carries it incredibly well, and he is just so athletic for someone his size. And I need to stop saying that because he's athletic regardless of how big you are. But then you count the fact that he is as big as he is, and that just makes it 10 times weirder and more amazing.
I mean, hopefully this comes off the way I wanted to, but I was going to say that it's deceptive, isn't it? Because he comes out, and he is like this bigger looking dude, and then you see him do stuff.
Like he's almost built like a, no, not him. I'm trying to remember his name. The bald guy, Kimbo Slice. He's almost built like Kimbo Slice.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying there, definitely. And he has this athleticism that's on par with some of the best cruiserweights you've probably ever seen. And it's just crazy. I enjoyed Son of Havoc as well in this thing because, like you said, he was kind of the fodder for sure, but he had some great moments of hope where, can he pull this out? And he's really, coming into his own and proving that he belongs in this ring with Cage and the Mack. So I feel like they did a great job of protecting Son of Havoc and his new kind of thread with, okay, I'm no longer with Evilise, time to go stake my claim and be my own man and dominate. So yeah, this is a really fun matchup. I really enjoyed the finish too, where Son of Havoc seemed like he was going to win it all. He was going to go for the shooting star press on the Mack, but Cage pulls Mack out. So Son of Havoc eats nothing but canvas. Then Cage kind of drives the Mack's head into this steel kind of guarding on the outside, taking him out. And then with the Son of Havoc so vulnerable, Cage is able to execute Weapon X for the pinfall victory. So Cage wins 2 matches in one night. once again, freak.
Yeah. This felt like a PWG match, though, because this was, I mean, if you want to go back to their PWG days, it was Willie Mack versus Brian Cage, who's still in PWG, versus Matt Cross, or M-Dogg 20. It's like a freaking PWG superstar clash. I don't even know what to call it. It's just ridiculous.
Right, and now the finals are all set, dude. I mean, Trios Tag Team Champions will be crowned next week. Oh my god, I can't wait.
Yeah, a triple threat trios match.
That's like 9 people sharing the and here's the thing, with the ridiculous pace that we saw in the finals of the Trios Tag Team Championship tournament, to get into the championship.
Well,
match.
This was the only round before the finals.
Yeah, so that was only 2 teams. So we're gonna have an extra team, an extra set of 3 people. Oh my god, that's gonna be insanity.
Yeah.
But yeah, really fun matchup.
Absolutely. Up next, we had a backstage segment. This was the second of the 2 Dario Cueto tries to get Drago and Aero Star to hate each other segments. He tells Drago pretty much the same thing that he told Aero Star, except slightly different words. Because with Aero Star, he told him that Drago will stop at nothing to win tonight. But he told Drago that Aero Star wants to ascend to another level in Lucha Underground, and that he'll stop at nothing to do that. So, yeah, basically the same message, reworded slightly to try and sort of focus in on what motivates these guys. And basically, yeah, like he wants them to rip each other apart.
Absolutely. Dario Cueto just trying to further the agitation between these 2 competitors. It was a well-done and succinct segment to build up hype for the main event tonight, so nothing more to say than that.
And now, to me, I don't know if I would say my favorite segment of the night, but it probably was, and whether or not it is, it was easily the most interesting segment of the night. Pentagon Jr. shows up out of nowhere, no match scheduled, nothing going on. He tells Melissa Santos to say that he dedicates his next sacrifice to his master, and she does, and as she's walking away, he friggin' jumps her.
You know what I love about Lucha Underground that really kind of illustrated itself in this segment? Because you see...
Strong women characters.
Well, strong women characters, yes, and I wholeheartedly agree, and I love that as well. What I was going to say was more on the booking and writing front. When they know they want a superstar, or I really should say wrestler, to be perceived a certain way, they go all in with it.
Push.
Yeah, they know all the buttons to push, and they go all in with it. I feel like WWE, they have similar frustrations, like, oh, why isn't this person getting cheered? Why isn't this person getting booed? But I don't really feel that
with friggin' Cesaro, they were like, oh, he's getting cheered too much. Let's give him a heel manager. If it was Lucha Underground, they would have been like, okay, Cesaro, you're going to go out there and you're going to thank Lillian Garcia for announcing your name, and then you're going to tell her that you're going to break the arm of the next person that you attack, and then she'll say it, and then you're going to break her arm. That's how you get heel heat. Good God. That's ridiculous.
I mean, they commit so well. I mean, they're really showing now the depths of Pentagon Jr.'s depravity under the tutelage of this master. I mean, the week prior, he broke the arm of a man who lost his mask, which if you're really into the Lucha Libre culture and you follow that intensely, you know the significance of that. I mean, even us as kind of lay people to it, or at least myself, even I recognize enough, just the big no-no here the Pentagon did with an assist from Dario Cueto, the scumbag. And now tonight, he attacks poor Melissa Sanchez, who didn't do anything wrong. Santos.
Yeah.
Santos. My apologies. But regardless, poor Melissa Santos getting attacked here. Yeah. And Vampiro looked like he was going to jump into action.
Oh, I love that, dude. That was so good because that making it feel real. That was like, oh crap, Vampiro is like kind of like the first line of security. He's kind of the guy that is sort of like him and Stryker, although Stryker maybe a little bit less so, sort of expected to be the guy to, if anything should go wrong, whether it's maybe like a fan trying to jump the ring or something like this that maybe wasn't supposed to be scripted. If anything goes wrong, Vampiro is kind of one of the first guys that's going to be able to prevent it from happening. And I love that he got out of his seat and he started acting like he was going to do something. But then, sticking with the theme of strong female characters, because I don't care if she was male or female, Melissa Santos is the ring announcer. She's not a competitor, so you would expect her to be at a disadvantage here. Plus, even if she was a competitor, Pentagon Jr. attacked her from behind. But then, again, with the strong women, and you know what? More anticipation, because guess what? I have more to say about this. Melissa Santos got attacked from behind by Pentagon Jr., but she was still with it enough to try and get out of the ring. She was still trying to run away. Like, in WWE, if a dude would do the same thing to a female that Pentagon Jr. did to Melissa Santos, they would be laid out flat on their face, not moving, basically dead.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they know that this is like, they're trying to keep it realistic, and if you just kind of club someone in the back, they're not going to die. They're not going to pass out on the spot. They're going to be in pain, but they're going to freak out and they're going to get away.
Melissa Santos is officially tougher than WWE refs.
That's the thing, though. That's so true. She is. But then, but like I was saying, no more anticipation. Sexy Star makes the save. Just such a great segment. This was so good. Yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and say that this was my favorite segment of the night. This was awesome.
Maybe I'm kind of overreaching here, but I did want to add that I know Vampiro kind of had like that concerned look, and he looked like he was doing it in action, but I also kind of saw, because he didn't rush the ring. You know, like he really took his time. So to me, that kind of communicated that he knows Pentagon Jr. isn't anybody to mess with, especially, you know, at his age, being a retired competitor, being an announcer. Yeah. Like, to me, he didn't seem too eager now. Like, he got up, he's like, all right.
He was basically in a position where, all right, somebody please come help. If nobody does, I'm going to get my ass kicked.
Yeah, it's like, all right, I'm going to let this situation resolve itself. All right, come on, somebody. I'm going to have to do this. And then, Sexy Star comes in, which is great because, you know, it keeps up her narrative of being this fearless, kind of fighter on behalf of all women and you know, the empowerment. I mean, you even exclaimed in excitement, and I laugh, but it's so true. Yeah, girl power. You know, that's what it's about. That's really what it's about. I'm telling you, I'm loving the stories that they are giving Sexy Star. I'm loving the chances they're taking with their heels. You know, I mean, Pentagon Jr. And see, here's the thing. I would have given credit to Lucha Underground. I wouldn't have been surprised if they had him go all the way with it, because I just feel like this is a brand that's like, we know how to get heat. We know how to write these stories. Let's do it. Let's, you know, make the commitment. And Pentagon Jr., I think, went from this beloved guy who wrecks everyone's shit to the heel that I think they always wanted him to be from the outset. So, way to get back on track, Lucha Underground, if this is your intention. So, great stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy because, like, I don't know, man. Like, it's almost like I'm trying to figure out if they have wanted him to be heel this whole time, but then they heard the crowd reacting positively and knew they had to react, or if they intended for him to be babyface, and then when he attacked Superfly a couple weeks ago, that counted as a heel turn. Like, I'm trying to figure out which one.
See, I feel like they wanted him to be a heel because, I mean, come on, he was out to really injure people. And you'd hear commentary even say during those matches, it's one thing to beat a guy, it's another thing to take the bread out of his mouth.
Yeah.
And that's what Pentagon Jr. was doing. He was taking bread out of their mouths. But people were liking it because here's the thing. He always did it, I feel like, in the context of, you know, after matchups. So after, you know, fighting with people that can defend themselves, you know, he would always, again, you know, to use the word that was commonly passed around, you know, wreck their shit. But then with the whole Superfly thing, that, of course, is a cultural thing. It's a great dishonor, a great insult. And then with Melissa Santos, it's obviously, well, it's not even the fact that she's a woman, because you see Evil Lisa and Sexy Star. It's the fact that she's a ring announcer. So, you know, I think they've done a great job of, you know, kind of shifting Pentagon Jr. just attacking his peers to really just attacking the defenseless, or just attacking in a way that's gravely insulting or dishonorable. So, good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. This segment was just gold. Just flat out gold. I don't even know what else to say. So let's move on. Up next, Dario Cueto takes over as the ring announcer and announce, because Melissa Santos is shaken, which, you know, can't blame her for that. He says the winner of this lucha will win one of my famous unique opportunities, and we have Aerostar versus Drago as our main event.
Oh, man.
The fifth match in the best of 5 series.
And you know, that unique opportunity, everybody was speculating, you know, what's it going to be? And these guys, I enjoyed this match because I think you could tell from both guys, in particular Drago more so to me, when you look at the near fall attempts and everything that he made, you know, the sense of urgency. Like, I want this opportunity. I need this opportunity. This is when I need to get to that next level. And, you know, it was just great back and forth. I mean, hell, even a table got involved. What I love, too, is that Dario Cueto was watching this the entire time. pretty much at ringside. And, when he saw the weapons get introduced and everything, he just got this smile on his face. Cueto is so good because this is what he cares about. He doesn't care about livelihoods or people chasing childhood dreams or this, that, or the other. He wants violence. This is a temple of violence. You talked about earlier in the program how you feel like Lucha Underground gives the vibe of like a prison. And to me, what have I said since episode 1? To me, it has that seedy kind of Fight Club vibe.
Yeah.
And, it really came out here because Cueto, it's pretty much like, for this unique opportunity, I want you guys to kill each other. Hell, I think he even didn't want the referee to kind of count him out when they were fighting on the outside. He was like, no, just let him.
Apparently they actually, this is kind of a problem that I did have with this, is that they didn't really announce it beforehand, but the commentary did tell us that this was a no count out, no disqualification match.
And you know what? Like, I think I can let it back because even if a counter or a DQ was called, Dario Cueto being right there, he would have stopped it anyway. He went, no, not for my unique opportunity. Ring the bell. And by the way he says ring the bell.
Yes, I know. He's so good. And he's actually a really good ring announcer, too.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, Cueto's just got that swag going on all levels. He's like, I'm running this. Oh, yeah. God, it's so good. And
ring the bell! It's so good.
I know, dude, amazing. Finally, the end comes with Drago's kind of, front forward kind of DDT looking maneuver, and then Aerostar's just out. Like you can see he's totally done. And then Drago gets the Dragon's Tail pinning combination. He gets the win. I'll be honest, I was a little surprised by this because given the language when Cueto was causing the agitation in the 2 segments we discussed, he used like the fiery imagery, the hell imagery for Drago, and I'd think, well, okay, if Drago comes up short, it's going to be scorched earth by way of a heel turn, and he's going to really indulge in that darkness. But no, they gave Drago the win, which I support. I'm glad Drago's kind of back in this spot. I think he's definitely one of the more popular characters in Lucha Underground. We always talk about how unique his look is and how amazing he is in the ring. And here's the thing, too. Aerostar came off so well in this series because this crowd was very divided for the final bout, and there was one point in this matchup, I think after he put Drago through the table after like a diving splash to the outside, that the crowd was wholly united. Aero Star. So this guy's been freaking made here because of this series.
Yep.
That said, Ashton, we get the announcement of the opportunity from Cueto. And it's pretty straightforward. It's an opportunity against Prince Puma for the Lucha Underground heavyweight title, but it comes at a price. Once again, Cueto being that scumbag, he says, look, Drago, if you cannot beat Prince Puma, you are banned from my temple forever.
Yeah.
So it's a zero-sum game. Either you win everything or you lose everything.
That's kind of the opposite of a zero-sum game.
Well, isn't it just like either you win it all or you lose it all? That's what that means, right?
A zero-sum game is no matter what happens, by the end of the day, nothing changed.
Oh, well, I see. But regardless, all the marbles on the table here for Drago.
There you go. That's the proper words to use. Yeah. It's like you said, it's all or nothing. Either he walks out the hero or he walks out the zero.
More or less, man. I mean,
I guess I could say either he walks out the hero or he just walks out.
Yeah. I mean, really. And again, to me, it's funny because I look at this, and again, just the way that Lucha Underground builds itself and it tells its stories. I don't even look at this story as being about Drago, in all honesty. I look at this story as being about, the sins of Dario Cueto and when is he going to price.
Dude, oh my God, there were so many little thoughts that were going through my head during this match because here's my thing. The fatigue that was being sold by these men in this match and the commentary on this match did such a good job of getting over the idea that Dario Cueto is evil for making these guys go against each other. And if you really think about it, this is like taking 2 friends that just wanted to put on an exhibition match and kind of, have fun and maybe go out for a couple beers afterwards and, they're buddies, and putting them in a gladiator arena and making them fight to the death. Like, it's so cruel. And the worst part is he didn't make them fight to the death right away. he made them fight the first time until one of their arms was broken. And then the second match was until one of them, I don't know, got like a limb taken off. You know, like it was death by 1,000 paper cuts because these guys have wrestled every week for the last 5 weeks. And they really sold it on commentary as like they're getting worn out. And Drago, I love this too. Drago completely changed his style in this match. I don't know if you noticed this or not. He was completely grounded. The only thing that he did aerial was one suicide dive, nothing else. He was completely grounded, and he turned this match into a sprinter versus a marathon runner, because this was an 11-minute match that Aero Star peaked at around 8 minutes.
Yeah.
And Drago just kind of withheld. He withstood all the offense from Aerostar. He just kept kicking out and kicking out and kicking out, and then it wore Aerostar out. And by the time Aerostar was done and kind of completely worn out, that gave Drago the opportunity to hit that DDT style move and then the pin with the dragon tail. And it was like the end of a war. It was like two guys that liked each other but had to be in a war. Finally, the war's over, and now there's not even any animosity anymore. And the only animosity they really do feel is towards Cueto for putting them through that in the first place.
Right. And, to me, Cueto just continues to really push the envelope here. I mean, you figure he did that mask versus mask match, spitting in the face of tradition, of culture, of everything, and that was a big affront. And now he tries to break a friendship between two men, and when he sees that he's failed in that endeavor, he ups the ante anyway by putting a man's livelihood at stake to give him a world title opportunity. I'm telling you, for Cueto, the chickens are going to come home to roost sooner rather than later, and I'm very intrigued that that's all going to play off, because we've known really since the beginning that the temple has sort of mythological elements going for it, and here's Cueto, this mere mortal man, just really reveling and indulging in his own power and getting drunk on it. Not a good combination. I'm very curious what the comeuppance for Mr. Cueto is going to be. So, great segment there. We already know, again, I'm presuming that both of those championship matches will take place next week.
Which is crazy. I feel like the championships get defended so often in Lucha Underground. I love it. I'm so not used to it. And now, like, WWE's doing this whole U.S. Championship Invitational thing, and that's been amazing. Like, there is no amount of title defenses, as long as they're actually being successfully defended and not passing around like a freaking hot potato, but there's no amount of title defenses that I would say there's too many.
Right.
Like, so, there can be too few, but there's no such thing as too many title defenses, especially if the guy is retaining them consistently.
Right. So, we have that amazing segment, lays the groundwork for next week, which should be just an amazing episode. And maybe we'll get updates on Angela Fong and Matanza and all that other stuff next week as well. I mean, who knows? But for now, let's move on to our next segment, high spots and low shots. Oh, man, it's tough this week. I think I'm going to have to say my low shot is Aerostar.
I knew you were going to go there.
Yeah, I have to. I mean, say what you will about the risk that Drago has to put up, for this opportunity. The fact is, it is a chance at the World Heavyweight title, which Lucha Underground has made out to be, as they should, mean everything. The thing that everybody should aspire for. Aerostar, a guy who only a few months ago seemed so under the radar, pretty much, on the margins of irrelevance, was this close to a world title opportunity, and he just came up short, despite the fact that I think he came out looking like $1 million because of this series. Still have to give him my low shot tonight.
John, my mentality for this low shot, I originally, as soon as you said Aerostar, I said, okay, I'm going to make my low shot Drago and explain that he went through just as much as Aerostar has gone through for the last month and a half. But the difference is Aerostar has job security. So that's a thing. But I came up with an even better low shot, that being Prince Puma. Because now, not only does he have a desperate Drago on his heels, but he was just pinned by King Cuerno, plus Johnny Mundo and Cage are both still in his rear view. And to top it all off, his team lost, and they're not going to be in the finals of the Trios tournament now because of him.
Yeah, you have to wonder how Conan feels about that, too. If he's going to give him...
Well,
like
I wouldn't imagine it's very good.
Yeah, I mean, especially with Hernandez now in the fold.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I kind of talked about that during the opening bout for this review.
Grass is looking a little greener on the other side.
I'd say so. Let's see. My high spot's got to be Cage. Wins 2 matches this week.
Yeah.
And won pretty decisively towards the end, not only using his intellect, pulling Willie Mack out of the way and then taking care of him and then, Son of Havoc injuring himself, but then hitting Weapon X and just getting the pinfall. And the guy is just an absolute monster. I mean, as we've said, he's not a man, he's a machine, and 2 victories in a row, and he's looking at potentially becoming the very first, the inaugural Trios Tag Team Champion alongside, Texano and King Cuerno. Things are looking up for Cage.
Yeah, absolutely. My high spot is Dario Cueto.
Oh, man, that's terrific.
Because he spent the whole show trying to get Aerostar and Drago to kill each other. And they had an amazing, violent match. Drago even whipped out a freaking table that he ended up getting put through. And not only that, though, but Cueto got what he wanted in the first match because the heel team won, and he hates Prince Puma and Johnny Mundo. In the second match, the guy that he's kind of signed off as like his sort of the ideal champion to him won. He got to spend a good chunk of the night ring announcing. He got to scream, ring the bell at the bell maker. What is the guy called? Timekeeper. The timekeeper. Yeah. And above all else, next week he either gets to fire Drago or he gets the Lucha Underground Championship off of Prince Puma. It's a win-win for him.
Yeah, he is in complete control of the board, and I love that. I love that you actually gave the authority figure the high spot. I will not disagree with it in the slightest. No contentions here. With that said, Ashton, do you have anything you want to say about tonight's episode of Lucha Underground?
I think it's one of those things where this was an amazing show from an in-ring standpoint until the main event, and then in the main event, it went from an amazing, exciting show to watch to a show that kind of made you really think, and it almost like it made me feel bad for the guys that were doing it because it was almost like they were like I said, it was like the Roman gladiators, man. It's like they're just there for entertainment. It's like they're killing each other and everyone is just like, yeah, kill him. And it's so barbaric, but we still love it. But then it's like, that's just the kayfabe version. And it's just, all kinds of thoughts running through my head. And anytime wrestling can really make you think like that, it's a good thing. So yeah, it's just an amazing match. Aerostar versus Drago, match 5. But the thing is, it wouldn't have been that amazing of a match if we didn't already know the backstory behind it. And that's what makes Lucha Underground special right there.
I'm just so happy, for Lucha Underground because I hear more and more people talking about it each week.
Yep.
So I feel like it's gaining viewers at a rapid pace, as it should, because I feel like for everybody that kept holding on to the hope that maybe, a promotion like TNA could become a viable, competitor to WWE, or at the very least, not even a competitor. I think the better word to use is alternative, because competition, I mean, you'd have to be a titan to compete with that. But
Lucha Underground, I think, is the only thing keeping the WWE from being the mainstream and the alternative at the same time because of the main roster versus NXT.
Exactly. And yeah, I love it. I love that it's gaining eyes every week, as it should, and it's because of episodes like this that phenomena is even occurring to begin with.
Yep.
So great job tonight, everybody. And with that said, this has been Lucha Underground. This has been TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John. That's my cohort and commentary, Ashton. Guys, be sure to comment and subscribe on YouTube. What did you think of tonight's episode of Lucha Underground? Who are you picking to win the very first Trios Tag Team Championships? Will it be Strange Bedfellows? Will it be the team of King, Cuerno, Texano, and Cage? Or will it be Big Rick and the family? Be sure to take the conversation over to Pletov, an amazing pro wrestling group where I know quite a few of our friends have been turned on to Lucha Underground as well. Also, you can take the conversation over to our TWitWoW subreddit that Ashton personally created, where you can talk to either him or I personally about wrestling. Be sure to tune in for our NXT review, the second half of the Wednesday Night Wars, as we see the debut of Dana Brooke and Sami Zayn takes on Rhino one-on-one. Will Sami Zayn be able to start getting his momentum back to face Kevin Owens for the NXT Championship, or will his insides be shredded with the gore? Gore! Gore! Until then, tune in and peace out.